Good morning, good morning, good morning to just about everyone on the sound of my voice. For those on the various streaming platforms, we want to welcome you to another episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of today's program. It's Wednesday, the 20th day of April, and we have two very burning topics that we want to examine today. But first, we'll pause to have a kind word or pay tribute to our sponsors, and then we'll be right back for today's show. Thank you very much.
Low on cash? Get exactly what you want this Easter with a loan of up to $50,000 cash from TDC Financial Services Limited. Consolidation? No problem. Renovations? No problem. Shopping? No problem. Get exactly what you want this Easter at TDC Financial Services Limited, where money is made easy.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Campari orange, easy fi we. Brother he no hard it, easy fi we. Campari in a cup, easy fi we. Brother he no hard it, easy fi we. Add the Campari with your orange juice. That easy, bitter had the pre. Simple mixer, easy 1-3. Campari orange, that easy fi we. Fi mix a Campari orange, add 1 pot Campari with 3 parts orange juice. Drink at the bar, on the beach, or when a girl reach. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
Once again, to our many viewers and listeners, welcome back to the program. You're logged on to WinFM 98.9 on the FM dial, and it's another episode of Voices. My name is Socrates, and I want to welcome you all to the program. I'd like to examine 2 topics today, and they both sort of clash on this particular date. I'll start with the first topic, and I will ask people to later on, weigh in and their thoughts on this particular topic. Let's start with the headline. It says, His Excellency Governor General Sir Tapley Seaton announces official mourning period in observance of the passing of Ambassador Amri. And it goes into detail. His Excellency, the Governor General, Sir W. Tapley Seaton, CGMG, CVO, QC, JP, LLBD has issued a notice in relation to the official mourning period in observance of the passing of Ambassador His Excellency Vance Wentworth Amri JP. By virtue of the powers in him vested he, and this is what it reads, by virtue of the powers in him vested, he has ordered that the official period of mourning in respect of the passing of Ambassador His Excellency Vance Wentworth Amri JP shall be Wednesday, 20th April 2022 to Saturday, 30th April 2022, both days inclusive. The public is therefore to be advised to be guided accordingly. Government House Inquets. This came from that. So there's that issue. And there's a clip I would have heard, sent to me from a journalist in Antigua. My friend, have you queued up the clip? Have you queued up? Okay. We would like to pause and play that clip, and then we get back to the discussion. So let's give a listen to this clip, please.
Prime Minister Dr. Timothy Harris has been given until today, Wednesday, to resolve issues facing the coalition Team Unity government or dissolve Parliament and pave the way for fresh general elections. The ultimatum was delivered by Nevis Premier and leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, Mark Brantley, amid a widening rift within the administration. Brantley issued the call during a television broadcast on Saturday night, saying that Harris had done nothing to resolve the issues in the public domain regarding the government. Just a reminder that the coalition comprises the People's Labour Party, PLP, which is led by Dr. Timothy Harris, and the People's Action Movement, PAM, which is a very well-known name here in Antigua-Barbuda, and Mark Brantley's Concerned Citizens Movement. We are joined by the leader of PAM, the Honourable Sean Richards, who serves as Deputy Prime Minister in the Federation. Good morning, sir. How are you? All right, I think
Good morning. I'm doing quite well, and thanks for having me on Observer Radio this morning.
All right.
Good morning to all of your listeners.
You're quite welcome, and I do apologize for that flub with the password situation. We'll try and rectify that next time. Is there any news to report? Have there been any new developments since the ultimatum has been put down to Dr. Timothy Harris?
Interestingly, there isn't any. Today is Wednesday, the deadline which we have given to the Prime Minister to respond to our concerns. Mm-hmm. Well, of course, the day ends midnight this evening. So maybe during the course of the day something would be forthcoming, but in terms of any scheduled meetings or anything of that sort, we have not heard from the Prime Minister.
All right. How would you characterize your meeting with the Prime Minister in the Cabinet room?
The meetings were very cordial. During those meetings, we would have outlined our position. We outlined the issues that we consider to be of importance. And we also indicated to the Prime Minister our settlement terms. Basically, we placed on the table a number of solutions to the issues that we discussed with him.
Okay. These issues, at least the ones that are in the public domain, at least one comes to mind fairly easily. The Nevis is concerned that they have not received their just due insofar as what we call the citizenship by investment. You have a different name for it, but essentially the same thing. What are some of the other concerns, certainly the concerns of the PAM, the party that you lead?
Some of the other concerns that we have would be the fact that we don't believe that the resources are shared equally. And when I say that, we had a slogan going into the last election campaign where we said fair share for all. We have a number of issues whereby citizens of the country from the various constituencies, especially some of our supporters, have an interest in getting onto the PAP program. The PAP is the Poverty Alleviation Program, whereby if a household is making less than $3,000 per month, you are entitled to a $500 monthly stipend. When we attempt to get some of our constituents to qualify for the program onto the program, we are given excuses such as the program is being audited, no one else is being taken on the program. While that is happening, we know that persons from the Prime Minister's constituency are able to get onto the program. But even more alarming is the fact that you have persons living overseas who are able to benefit from the program. We are saying that cannot be correct. We also have situations whereby you have couples living in the same house who are able to get the assistance when the assistance is only supposed to be accorded to one person per household. Because in looking at the $3,000 threshold, it applies to the summation of all of the persons living in the house and the incomes earned by those particular individuals. There's a next program by the name of the STEP program, which is an employment program for persons who are unemployed. We have issues with getting persons on that particular program. Just recently, about a month or two ago, you had the distribution of some 15 houses in the Prime Minister's constituency, which were donated by the government of Venezuela. All 15 of the houses were built in the Prime Minister's constituency and distributed to persons in his constituency.
Okay.
Additionally, we raised the issue of the ambassador to the United Nations, who hosts a radio program twice weekly, and he uses that particular radio program to make disparaging comments about ministers of government. We have said to the Prime Minister that that particular situation is untenable, and in no other country would it be allowed. So we have voiced quite a number of issues that we are dissatisfied with.
So
when we went into the elections of 2015...
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying when we... When we went into the elections of 2015, we had an agreement whereby we allowed the Prime Minister to contest what we refer to as constituency number 7, and the former Deputy Prime Minister under the Labour administration, Sam Conda, to contest constituency number 3. In the elections of 2020, we gave a further accommodation to the Prime Minister's party, PLP, to contest constituency number 6. What we have seen since then is that the Prime Minister has a basically established branch in all of the constituencies, and not just established branches in those other constituencies, but we have seen persons going around and campaigning and indicating to the public that they will be the candidate for PLP in the upcoming general elections. So clearly, what we're seeing is that the Prime Minister intends to have his party contest all of the seats in the upcoming general elections, and that wasn't the agreement that we entered into.
Let me ask you real quick, because we have just about 3 minutes to go in the program. Have you had your emergency caucus yet, the PAM emergency caucus? You referred to it in your address into the Easter weekend.
Yes, last night the council, which is the highest decision-making body within the People's Action Movement, met, and I can say to you that the council has basically said to the leadership of the People's Action Movement that if the issues are not resolved, then it is time for PAM to walk away from this particular coalition arrangement.
Okay, and the other question, why not go to the Governor General, yourself and Mark Brantley, and say, look, we're not supporting Dr. Timothy Harris anymore, and because at the end of the day, that's how the constitutions are set up, right? The majority, the will of the majority of those sitting in Parliament, something, if it's worded similarly to how it is in Antigua?
Well, certainly we are, and we have been making efforts to resolve the situation amicably. Okay. But if at the end of the day, the Prime Minister doesn't indicate that he is willing to do so, then we would have to consider the other options which are available to us.
Of that being one of them, the nuclear option?
Of course, that is an option that we will consider.
All right. Are you optimistic that this matter can be resolved? Was there any indication from Prime Minister Harris that, all right, I see y'all have a point, let me try and see if I can work with you. Was there any conciliatory tone coming from the Prime Minister from your perspective?
Honestly, I'm not optimistic. When I left the 2 meetings which were held with the Prime Minister, I can't say that I was disappointed. I went into those meetings basically expecting the Prime Minister to do just as he did. As far as we're concerned, the Prime Minister just is kicking the ball further down the road.
All right. What's the relationship between you and Dr. Timothy Harris right now?
It's quite cordial. I do not hate the Prime Minister. I have issues with a number of the different policies and how he is treating his partners within Team Unity. And those are exactly what I have voiced.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Deputy Prime Minister of the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. I'm sorry we didn't have more time, but due to the little challenge we had initially. But thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Okay. I hope you would have been able to listen to that in its entirety. At this point, before we engage in any further discussion, we're going to pause for a word from sponsors, and we get back with you.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Delicious. Lightly salted, tasty, and oh so fresh.
Delicious, multigrain, crispy, full of flavor, and so guilt-free.
Licious, buttery blend, golden brown, melts in your mouth, and of course, you just want more.
Things that make you go, Licious, the new snack cracker from Wabisco. Buttery blend, multigrain, or lightly salted. Ready to snack straight from the pack. Try them today.
Enjoy the convenience of getting all your documents in one place. At the TDC Copy and Print Center on 4th Street in Basse-Terre, we do just that. We offer document formatting, graphic design, and copy and print services. Our team of professionals truly understand all your needs, whether it be administrative, professional, academic, or personal. You bring it, we deliver it with quality every time. Visit the TDC Copy and Print Center today in the TDC Mall on 4th Street in Basse-Terre or call 465-2511. Your copy and print specialists are waiting to serve you.
Welcome back to our many viewers and listeners. Welcome back to Voices. My name is Socrates, and we earlier sort of put out 2 topics for discussion today. One is the recommended period of mourning in observance of the passing of the ambassador, the Honorable Vance Amory, and from today, the 20th, until Saturday. These are the designated or the recommended days of mourning. I think his body would be lying in state at the cabinet, and the viewing begins tomorrow from 9:30. It continues on Friday, and then it goes to Nevis. So it's a period of mourning that begins today, and of course all reverence is due and given to the honorable gentleman, very much beloved. There's now a discussion ongoing or recommendation by the Prime Minister to designate him a national hero. And of course, this takes further discussion. One always is reflective as to when a person would have passed. That's the time he's being considered for such high esteem as being named a national hero. I recall a similar discussion some time ago with a fellow taxi driver who didn't think that Dr. Simmons should have been given that designation because he was yet alive. So that's a whole discussion for another different thing. So that's today. That begins today, Wednesday, when the body of His Excellency the Ambassador returns to the Federation. And today was the day given as an ultimatum for the Prime Minister. Today's same Wednesday, 20th, was the day given as the ultimatum for the Prime Minister to give an answer to the Premier, Mark Brantley of CCM Nevis, and Sean Richards, the other political leader of the PAM, as to the way forward. We know they've had 2 meetings. We've heard of an ultimatum issued by the leaders of the PAM and CCM to the Prime Minister Harris for a meeting today, or his response to the last meetings today, April 20th. I have heard on the street that the fact that today was the day for the deadline to give, as they say, come to resolution or dissolution, to avoid this impasse, or to get by this impasse, and today being the day wherein the body of His Excellency Ambassador Amory is being brought home, and today begins the period, or one of the days of mourning, is more or less a ruse. And I don't want to give credence to that, but I do believe that we can walk and chew gum at the same time. One should not supersede the other. They're both issues of national interest, very important to the Federation. And each should be given due diligence. Actually, I had breakfast this morning. I ate some sweet pepper. It's got my mouth tied up. It should be given due diligence to each topic. And so we have the issue, and we must, of course, honor the fact that Vance Amory, the Honorable Vance Amory, was much beloved and a dedicated civil servant, and all honors and respect has to be given to him. So if it was a case where, okay, we have this thing that we have to address today, but because of, we will postpone, that communication should have been sent. Silence in this situation is not an option. That communication should have been given, because somebody tried to make the case to me yesterday. Well, you see, Timo is smarter than them, because what he did, he's using this particular issue of the arrival of the body of His Excellency, the Honorable late Vance Amory, as a means of postponing or delaying that meeting or giving a response. And in this period of mourning, one has to observe and really not show any rancor, etc. But I'm saying we can walk and chew gum at the same time. So these are the topics. I am one who's going to make myself available to go and view the body of this great gentleman. And I've known him to do that for many, many years. We have great dialogue. And those who know him, he never passes anyone without a smile, a hi, hello. So the dialogue and it has been great. So I'm going to pass maybe tomorrow, I think it is, to pay my respect before his body goes to Nevis, where that is also, he'll be in the state and people can go and pay the respects also. So I don't want to get into too much of the political rancor, but this date, the 20th of April. As a matter of fact, we had the 20th day of April. A few days ago, it was April 1st. I mean, we're joking, it's All Fool's Day, and then you had John look up on lockdown. You know those things, but we have gone 20 days into April, and we are fast approaching May. So those two issues of national interest, if anyone wants to weigh in on, you are invited to do so. The numbers to call are 466-0989-662, and we have a call on the line as we speak. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Voices.
Good morning, Mr. Hart Sr.
Good morning, sir. How are thou?
Not bad.
Beautiful.
I just want to weigh in on this whole, I don't even know what to call it. But in my view, I don't see anything wrong with us having to mourn the passing of His Excellency Vance Amory. But at the same time, we cannot forget, we cannot diminish the importance of having the engine of our state being oiled and going forward. We cannot halt the operation and good governance of the country because we are mourning. That doesn't make any sense. Yes, we love we love
of course,
our departed
very
brother.
Much beloved and respected.
But the operation of our country must go on. Must go on. Even during this mourning period. And I know Mr. Amory would have wanted that.
Definitely.
You understand?
Definitely.
So, this foolish is what I'm hearing about things might be postponed because we are mourning. No. The country is bigger than every one of us, including Mr. Amory.
Quite so.
You understand? So the business of the country must go on. And if the business of the country is to take out Mr. Harris out of government, install another person or go back to the poll, so be it. So be it.
The impasse must be addressed.
Exactly.
And based on what
I know. Sorry to cut you off,
go ahead.
Mr. Hart Senior.
Okay, Junior.
I must yield to you. I'm the junior.
Okay, Junior. Go ahead.
Right? No one man should hold our country hostage. No one man should hold our country hostage. Who they think they are? Out of order, out of place. This country is bigger and better than each and every one of us as a single person. So this thing where people talking about smarter than and smarter than, smartness is corruption. Smartness lead to corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the road it seems as though certain people want to take our country. And hell no, it will not happen.
But lack of communication is also lack of respect.
You understand?
If you articulate, okay, because of this period of mourning, let us get together at another time. At least you would have communicated. And you inform the dialogue. We are going to postpone until maybe Monday because we wish for all to be able to observe this period of mourning in respect of the late honorable gentleman. But that must be articulated, it must be communicated. No answer is lack of respect.
More than lack of respect. More than lack of respect. And that is what has been meeting out to not only the Premier of Nevis, but the other colleagues in Parliament. When the honorable Prime Minister wants to do as he wish, it does not work that way. This is a democracy. It is a democracy. Look at what he has been doing with our resources. While the majority of us are suffering, he and a few are living like kings on the hills.
Based on the...
Just yesterday, Mr. Hatsari,
right.
Can you imagine? While we are going around and disconnecting ordinary poor people electricity, there are persons whose electricity is being paid by the government of this country, by poor people, have installed a deep freeze to keep frozen meat for their family members to be sold and don't have to pay a red cent to electricity, while the poor people have to find money to pay the electricity bill. How that could be right? How can it be
well,
right?
I'm glad you didn't call any particular name because we're not in a position to substantiate any of that. But it's a concern that you have.
I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I'm better than that.
Appreciate that.
My dear blood.
Mr. Hart Senior.
I'm better than that.
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not happy. I am not happy. I don't see anybody who, right-thinking person, can be happy with this political impasse. It has to end. We have to show maturity, and it has to be addressed. That's my concern.
Exactly, and I just know.
In any marriage...
Of a matter of urgency.
Yeah, in any marriage, there are issues that can lead to divorce or whatever, but there must be a dissolution, and it must be, or it ought to be amicable. We cannot go on with this rancor. And if it's about proving who's smarter and who can outmaneuver, we don't need that. We don't need this.
That's corruption. Yeah.
We don't need this.
That's corruption.
So if it's back to the polls...
Sit down, spend your day, thinking how you can outsmart your fellow men, how you can outsmart the country.
No, this is not good.
It's a high level of corruption.
This is not good.
And you ought not to be trusted.
And I'm
hoping... Thank you for listening, Mr. Hart Senior.
I appreciate your contribution, sir. It's very important that we get the public's feedback. As the two topics, as I said, today's the 20th, and those two issues, burning issues of national interest, is what we're trying to get, sort of ventilated. So again, the numbers to call for those who wish to join the debate, 466-0989, 662-0989, 762-0989. For those farther afield, say my friend in the UK, Chris, he's actually online. We have 033-044-0065, and we have a call on the line. Caller, good morning. Welcome to Voices. You're on.
Good morning, Mr. King Sakoti.
Good morning, sir. How about
the listeners? Very
beautiful.
I just want to follow up on something I heard yesterday prior to the sitting they had especially for the late Ambassador and former Premier.
Yes, Nevis, yes.
I heard one of the presenter was making a statement saying that it's best to honor a person when they're living than honoring them when they're dead. But he recommend that the late Premier and the late Ambassador be honored as a national hero.
Yes, that was suggested. That was recommended.
That I heard?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And that was followed by the Prime Minister's statement too? Is that correct too?
He's on record of recommending that.
Well, I would like to state something here today.
Certainly.
Because we have so many people who have made great contribution before the late Premier and the late Ambassador, and they are being able to make strive for St. Kitts and Nevis both, and they being put as and requests have been made, and we ain't see these things have been challenged in the forefront for them to be honored as national heroes, because they ain't a politician. That means their name can be put up forward like that.
That question was raised before, but go ahead, because it's very important for people to understand that there are people here making the contributions who can be considered for those offices. But then, I know there's an honor committee. There's an honor committee that you should approach when you make an application for certain persons. But then
Mr. Sakoti, I understand what you're saying about honor committee.
Mhm.
But we must put factual standard in place than just an honor committee. These are people who make our people understand what we've been going through in the time of the slave transatlantic slavery trade, to how we reach in post-emancipation till now, where we see now, as we say, we are in post-independent state. So we can't really look at these court and say we've seen our people really being fully honored in the status quo that they're supposed to be both male and female. When you're looking at it from a political standpoint.
But there are two things that you brought up. The fact that people who are yet alive should be considered. It should not be after you would have passed. In the case of the late Washington Archibald, I always felt that he is someone who should have been given that designation, some sort of national honor. Right?
I got a lot for me, within my view.
Mm-hmm.
I see even Marcus King of the Woods, and Betta Douglas, and John Africa. These are people who make contribution during the time of forced emancipation.
Here's what. At certain time, those names are given lip service. That's it. That's being mentioned.
When we want to get favorable for when we say we're going a history lesson. Oh, that's something I had a discussion last week with my sister boyfriend, and I had to tell him, boy, in Africa, me on a petition, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because me have to be in Africa to be African, you know.
That is correct. I love that.
My references come within my genes, my heritage.
Well, I know I'm not Chinese.
You see? So I be African from within I, not out of I, in I and I. That is how I and I see the broadness of who I am. But I'm just making this quote because I feel that we can't just be pointing because of how we want to get favoritism for because we're making a statement. We have to put it in the full context that we have to honor our people by how we're seeing things fitting for their contribution from afar and near. And that's all I would like to say. Give thanks.
I want to thank you for your contribution. I'm going to pause at this moment for a word from responses once again. They make this show possible, and we will be right back. Thank you very much, sir.
Better Buying your medication is easy with City Drug Store's curbside pickup. WhatsApp our certified pharmacist at 662-8769 with your requests. For prescriptions, take a clear photograph and send for review. We will engage you in dialogue and then provide a quotation and link for payment. You can then pay via TDC's online payment portal. And once the transaction is complete, you'll be notified that your pickup is ready. Yes, it's that easy. Send your WhatsApp message to 662-8769 to order your medications today with City Drug Store's curbside pickup service.
Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Once again, good morning, and we go straight to the phone lines. Your live on voices. We missed a call. Caller, your live on voices.
Good morning, Mr. Socrates. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Socrates, I laugh in you. Something going on in every country.
Laughter is good. Go ahead.
I said something going on in every country, and people seem like, for some reason, some of us seem very sharp, thinking. And we accept too much of disrespect from these politicians who are asking for us to respect. Now, let's have a look at the situation, Socrates, concerning Van Samri. Respectable man, the whole 9 yards. But they need to explain to people and Timothy need to be honest to us. When the governor passed away, he had a day of mourning, right?
Yes.
Question? Huh?
I don't know exactly if it was a day or a week, but I'll be guided by you.
Check it out. Right. Okay, go and find it out. Right.
All right, sir.
I don't have a problem with whatever they are mourning for Van Zamri. That's not the issue. He deserves all what he's supposed to get. But the issue is how these politicians deal with people. Van Zamri is from Nevis. I think you were in Gingerland for all the years and the whole 9 yards. So you want to tell me only when Van Zamri dead, Timothy didn't know Van Zamri was sick? You want to tell me they couldn't settle the nation? They didn't got to say Van's got cancer, he got sugar, he got this, he got that. Van Samri is not doing well. Let us have a day, a prayer for Van Samri.
Maybe it was his request.
Maybe
it was Miss Amri's request.
It was his request?
Maybe it was. Some people don't want people to know that they're, hurting.
Well, hear me. Let us not go with maybe. I can't go with that argument. Van Samri is a public figure. So I'm going to go with maybe. Whatever the situation is, we need to fully know what's going on. Okay? And this ain't the first time we've seen this. Let's go back during the COVID. We had ministers who had COVID and all kind of thing and hid it from the people. We had the lady from Barbados, and we like to use overseas, who went to do an operation. And we think it had every update on what was going on with the woman. Okay? So since it was requested in Socrates, why you come to tell us about you need 10 in the morning? We don't need to mourn then. We don't need to know. So if you request that we must know when you're sick and all of that, don't come to me, come tell this nation we must mourn for 10 days. We don't need to mourn for the 10 days. We don't need to know that he dead. We cannot be playing with people like that, Mr. Ting, because there's people in Nevis who is very close to Vance. They should be feeling comfortable what is going on with Vance. So if it's a request, we'll also request that we don't need to know and we don't need to have no 10 days of mourning. If you understand what I'm saying to you, Sakuti, request it all across the board.
Are you saying that they only give
the nations a surprise? You give everybody a surprise in the country. And now the government tell me, well, as you said, maybe it was request. This is the kind of foolishness we've been going on in the country for years. We hear maybe and if. We don't know.
Curtis.
Because everything is a secret, Sakuti.
Curtis.
The other question I made to understand, He's trying to make Vance Amri a national hero. That is true.
Yes, it's in print. It's a recommendation by him. It's in print, yes.
How that's supposed to come about?
Well,
they're supposed to go in cabinet?
Yes.
So how Timothy could come tell us that when he went in cabinet to come up with the idea?
It's a recommendation. It could be one person recommended it, but they say he hope the relevant bodies would take up the suggestion.
Hear me, my brother. Timothy Harris is doing everything in his power to suit himself. People ain't fooly. Him need to stop. You call Douglas 10 man and one. Wherever the recommendation be, it should have gone to cabinet before you even bring it here. Because I don't see it in the public domain. So wherever the recommendation will be, you don't see Timothy face up, and we don't see they don't start to put out the propaganda. But suppose Mark saying with it. Suppose Sean Sabah with that.
It makes him look bad.
Timothy does this all the time. You remember he said $1,000? Up to now people still trying to find $1,000. He does this to the country all the time, mislead us. My brother, these things need to stop. And this is thing I keep saying every day. Dr. John them can't get in power and do the same thing to us. We need to stamp down with foot, Sakwati. We need to stamp with foot as a people. We must be honest and open. Dr. Joe cannot get in power and give me the same stupidness. How much time I must be saying it all the time? But when you say some people don't say you're against Joe, you're in a labor and all this kind of stupidness. I'm fed up with this kind of politics. I say it every day. I support labor wrong the wrong. They stand up to Dougie and they say Dougie was doing wrong and let's agree. You move Dougie, okay? But the problem I had with these guys, when you're trying to convince me that Dougie do nothing for 20 years. The problem I had with Tim and St. Vincent and stand up with a placard, King St. Vincent, Blues and Sinkets, standing solidarity with people, Blues and Sinkets. Timothy say more like they get killing Sinkets and even in Jamaica. This is the man leading us today. Because once it's not here, we mash it up. That's the problem I have, my brother. We cannot go against the country. We got to be bigger than this. That's it for killers, you know. So I look me at the talk. They talk in the circus the other day. We're too big man. Okay, we have the differences, all right. Okay, and what? What are we going to do?
So here's a question. Here's a question for you. Did you think that he would give a response by today, as he was asked to, today the 20th?
But brother, I'm going to be honest with you, Socrates. This fight here, right? Mm-hmm. I'm really and truly very disappointed on all angles in all these guys. Saying it's not a puppy show country, I don't tell you that already. And they're making us to be puppy show. Now you ask me a question, I don't know what he's going to do. But let me flip the question. Mm-hmm. Don't you think the same Timothy just listened to an interview with him? Say he and Sam Condor is who create the unity concept. You know that, right?
I didn't hear it.
You didn't hear it. Mm-hmm. That is what the clip said. He talked to the reporter back then. They're playing it back now. In the first thing when they kick up, who the first person gets out of the party?
Sam.
Okay. And when Sam gets out of the party, what Mark say?
I don't recall it for me.
What Mark say? Nothing. What Sean say? Nothing. Mm-hmm. What Vance Amri, his soul rest in peace, say? Nothing. Mm-hmm. So you tell me what they're telling me to could make any sense. Because they sit down there and allow Timothy to throw him out of the party. Who he said create the party. Mm-hmm. Who was the glue to the thing happening? Because Vance had the most respect for Sam Condor.
For Sam, yes.
Master had the most respect for Sam Condor, because they had none for Douglas. Sean said they had the most respect for Sam Condor, because they had none for Douglas. So how the hell they got me to tell me that them they cook today to come tell me Curtis Cook that they're standing up to him now. Mm-hmm. Because they were accusing everybody and get what they want. The Mark ain't get him money. Sean ain't get him money. Because Sean arguing his personal thing. He must in some report. Only they could argue for the personal thing, but Curtis Cook mustn't argue for TDC workers and all us so we severance money. But Sean arguing that he made a Muslim report and he wasn't going to see Parliament. Socrates and everybody stupid. My issue here, where was the voice when they choked the man for
you
the
got a point.
All of them was quiet, my brother.
Chris Collins.
What are they saying to me today? Putman and Bagay need to get out of Parliament. Because it's gone, you're going back to no Socrates again. Why were we trusting these people during the COVID? Were they honest to us?
That's a different story.
Still another unanswered question with the COVID. I know a lady tell you in Sandy Point who took the vaccine, blood clotting she long, nobody looking for, nobody saying nothing. Who can she sue? Who can she go to? We, who didn't took the vaccine, didn't commit no crime, but we getting hell and devil to get a little money. Mark ain't concerned about that. You got people in Nevis who lost their job on the mark. They ain't concerned. But they're concerned about getting his fair share for Nevis. But where's the TDC workers' fair share? Where's all the other companies who fire people unceremoniously fair share?
Let me ask you, can I ask you a question? Can I ask you a question that relates to your situation? Huh?
Am I making sense?
Yes, but I want to ask you a question that relates to your situation. Are you getting any redress?
Huh?
Are you getting any progress with your situation?
Well, boy, be honest with you, Sakudi. Sorry to say, boy. Be honest with you. I can't even tell you again because the Labour Department seems like they're dragging the foot. When the fifth were made the mistake and so what you said, which was foolishness. So right now, we just come after a long holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So from this week to next week, we're back at it again.
Okay, give me your data, please.
Because I don't know why the Labour Department is not saying. Nobody has to have a meeting with us. We went the other day to see a Kilo. We had a talk with Kilo. I see Timothy had meeting with the fellas, them, the gangsters. He had meeting with this. He had meeting with that. Well, I publicly asked him, Timothy Harris, again, that we want to sit down and have a meeting with you, Timothy Harris, concerning Reserve's money.
Okay.
And I'm going to encourage all the people who get fired because we need to have a meeting, we need to have a discussion. Because Sakoti may kill nobody. May rob, may do nothing in this country. All of us, the Danny Rollins and the Gwen and them programs and all these people, we deserve to hear, Timothy deserves to hear, we voice.
Okay, here's what.
But you see, some people he's looking at and some he's not. I'm saying, my brother, at the end of the day, before I go, the situation we have, Mark Brantley, Sean Richard, and them need to sort out the situation with Sam Conda first before they come to tell us anything. You have a good day.
Thank you for your contribution. Hard topics today. We're going to pause. Are they in the call on the line? Okay, let's pause forward from sponsors once again and then come back to the program. Thanks.
Shopping with TDC just got much easier. Here's how. Log on to shoptdcgroup.com. Shop at your convenience at any time, from anywhere, with your smartphone, tablet, or computer. With our safe and secure payment checkout, you choose the option to pick up in-store or have your goods delivered right to your door. It's that easy. Shop tdcgroup.com, your one-stop online store.
Shop anywhere, shop anytime, same quality you love. Now online. Shop
www.shoptdcgroup.com. Enjoy an elevated experience with your Flow Home Internet and mobile combined.
Giving you the best rate for great savings.
With 120 gigs of double data for anything.
And unlimited talk.
On 4 mobile lines.
Simply combine your Flow Home Internet and mobile for the best rate and value. Unlock double data and unlimited talk on 4 mobile lines to go with home internet speeds up to 35 megabits per second. Visit a Flow store to sign up today. Conditions apply.
Campari Orange, easy fi win. Brother he no hard it, easy fi win. Campari in a cup, easy fi win. Brother he no hard it, easy fi win. Add the Campari with your orange juice. That easy, bitter had the pre. Simple mixer, easy 1 3. Campari Orange, that easy fi win. Fi mix a Campari Orange, add 1 pot Campari with 3 parts orange juice. Drink at the bar, on the beach, or when your girl reach. Must be 18 years or older to drink. Drink responsibly.
At 10 minutes moving up to 12 o'clock, and we're back with voices, and there's a call on the line. Caller, morning, welcome to the program.
Good morning, my brother. How are you?
Sister Henry, good morning. Welcome to the program. Love to hear your voice.
Man, I'm giving God thanks.
Definitely.
I'm here watching some people stressing up themselves. Which dog you are in the fight?
Me? I'm a concerned citizen. I'm very disappointed with what's going on. So, pardon?
You're hurting for yourself, you know, it's a concerned citizen.
I'm a concerned citizen.
Mine, I hope they know that Vance is a concerned citizen too, you know.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Well concerned
we're
about
honoring him.
Yes, yes.
We got to honor Neves.
Out of respect is fair.
Good morning, Curtis. You know, I tell you, Curtis could have been a historian, you know.
Maybe he is.
Yes. You know, I mean, he could tell the history of St. Kitts and all of that.
That's a very good thing.
I must agree with my Rasta friend, Ras Aya.
Uh-huh.
And I was a bit taken back when they said about making Vance. I have nothing against Vance. He's a very nice person. I hope all of our leaders learn something from him. But, you know, people have been lobbying to have somebody from the slave period, but Better Douglas, Marcus of the Woods, and even the Buckley's thing. And little response has been gotten.
Because they seem not relevant. Politically, they're not relevant.
But they got to be relevant if you're going to look. Have you ever been to Guyana?
No, I have not.
They have this big statue of this Coffee, I think his name is. He had led a rebellion against the slave master.
I will have coffee.
I think it's Coffee the name.
Yes, coffee. I will have coffee.
Yeah, because I took a picture by it. It's a big...
Coffee, Cipriano Maui show.
Make a stone or something. Now, this is a country that has both Indian and whatever. Even though they weren't slaves, they were as good as indentured servants.
They were, yes.
I mean, we're falling behind. We are falling behind because, as you say, we have had enough politicians. Connecting Douglas, who else next? I mean, really? You know? You could have them later. Sorry, that Vance died so soon. It's a good day.
What do you mean later? What do you mean by later? Have them later?
After that, they would have honored some of the other persons that we have been lobbying for.
Okay.
I don't mean they don't deserve it, eh?
I would say the list should be expanded.
Yeah, I mean,
It should be
it's time
expanded.
enough you put on somebody, I mean, Better Douglas, that is a woman. We need a female up there. She was brave enough to challenge.
First slave to take her master's to court.
I'm telling you.
Even though she lost the case, we gloss over it. Imagine what it takes to take your oppressors to court.
Yeah.
All white judge, all white jury, and so on, but she marched them to court.
Yes, because she had the word. You know, that she was to be freed and all of that, and her children.
And she sacrificed for children.
Led a rebellion. He lived as a maroon. These are things that should engender a certain amount of pride and courage in our people.
But first, we have to know who we are.
You know, and so Mr. Amory deserves everything. But we have got to learn to put things, to prioritize things.
In perspective.
Because you can't honor Mr. Amory and then despise Nevis. It don't work so. It don't work like that. Now, I expect Dr. Harris to respond.
Today?
Well, if not today, he could say, well, I can't, you know, as you said, give a respectful response. I am going to, you know, maybe as soon as this thing is over, it must not become an excuse, eh?
If not, it's disrespectful.
How long ago he was given that thing? How long ago?
Well, if you don't have enough time, you say, I don't have enough time. The last meeting was on 14th. On the 14th, we had the holiday period, but if you don't have enough time, say, gentlemen, I think I need more. Give me 4 more days, etc. Let's observe the morning period and then after, but at least articulate that. That shows us certain respect and a commitment.
And the other party should understand that too.
They will. But when Sean was asked by the guy in Antigua this morning, he said, up to now, we don't know. He said, but the day ends at midnight.
I suppose maybe today, after the body comes, he will tell them.
He says the day ends at midnight. So he's being diplomatically hopeful.
Yeah. And I must give Sean credit, you know. I must give Sean credit.
Tell me why, because he's got a lot of bashing, this and that. So tell me why you think he deserves credit.
You remember when Amma refused to join with Labour, the amount of names and cussing he got?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, oh, Lord, they dragged that man to the mud.
Some people still hold it against him?
The hack pen, calling weak and whatever. But
Some people still hold it against him.
When you're able to discern, so if you come to borrow my money, and I know you don't like to pay, I'm not going to let you can walk and talk about how I cheap, and I bad and I wicked. But he knew who he was dealing with.
You're exercising good judgment.
It's just that. Somebody can put up today and take it on next week.
You're right. It would have been a marriage of convenience. It would have been a marriage of convenience. He recognized it and he exercised good judgment.
Yeah. So when I hear some people, you know, a lot of hypocritical bawling going on. Anyway, once his soul is right, it doesn't matter what people say.
Correct.
Because they say you must speak good of the dead, eh?
Mm-hmm.
So, all the bad that they know. When they don't say dust to dust, they start to pull out the dust and pull you out. Well, now, my friend Journey, you know, the president for Rwanda visited Jamaica and Barbados.
Is Rwanda? Yes, I saw a clip of it last night. That's a very tall gentleman. He's just way up there.
Eh?
He's tall. He's long.
You must be a Masai.
I'm thinking that too. I saw a news clip of it yesterday. It was tall gentleman.
I met her when I went to India. There was this fella from Kenya.
Mm-hmm.
He was over 7 feet.
There you go.
I'd never seen anybody so tall. Quite amicable, you know. He came to represent his government. You know, so, and then he went to Barbados. Now, I am telling my friends, stop calling our leaders greedy dogs. If you have no respect for people, don't expect them to communicate with you.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say it again. If you have no respect for people, don't expect them to communicate with you. If you want to lead this African conscious thing, there may be some unscrupulous among us, but when you say all of our leaders,
no,
we are lobbying for further communication between African states and Caribbean, and it's beginning.
Yep.
It is beginning. Mr. Brantley, before you go, we want some to come to St. Kitts. They don't go yet.
You mean as the Minister of Foreign Affairs?
Yes, he is.
We got about 10 minutes before we wrap up, so make it work.
So my good friend Journey, because I was thinking about we can say, if you keep calling all of our leaders and greedy dogs.
You close the door to that dialogue.
You know, so please done with that.
Okay.
So I am looking to, I'm optimistic. I still expect a good ending to this thing, because remember, the ball is now in the Prime Minister's court.
That is correct.
And even though there may be elements in his party,
he as the leader has got to take that step.
He has got to do like what Vance do. You don't always follow what some people in your party, some people like blood.
Mm-hmm. Like the hoods on dogs. They want to dog fight.
They want to, and the truth is, you know, sometimes the dogs look like it win. When they go, me drop down dead.
Sister Henry, we got a break for the midday newscast. I want to thank you for your contribution. Always very lucid and always welcomed. So on this point, we're going to pause for the midday newscast. Thank all those who made it a point to make the contribution. Chris Collins, need to hear from you in person. Love your contribution. But we will be back after the midday newscast to continue this discussion. Thank you very much.
You found the sound. 98.9. Win FM.
We now bring you the headline news. The headline news is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
Did you know that National Bank offers very favorable terms and low interest rate to switch your home mortgage? Our in-house legal department will process your mortgage in a jiffy and free of cost. Switch your home mortgage now and get a peace of mind knowing that we are here for you. National Bank, always here.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Dealing well with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-2631 or 469-5303. Delia Walwyn, people you can trust.
Maybe it's the way the brilliant gold liquid reflects our sunshine, or how the bright blue of its label mirrors the clear Caribbean skies overhead. Maybe it's the fresh, crisp taste of this beastly cold beer on a scorching hot day. Maybe it's even the way it brings us all together. But one thing is for sure, Carib is very much a part of who we are wherever we're from in the Caribbean. Carib, it's the way we play. Drink responsibly.
With the WinFM News, I am Devon Cornelius.
I am Kevon Brown.
And I am Yolana Weeks.
Making the headlines.
Parliamentarians honor the legacy of the late His Excellency Ambassador Vance Amory.
In Trinidad and Tobago, members of the opposition, the United National Congress, protested the increase in fuel prices in country on Monday, Carib Update reports. Internationally, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has offered what he calls a wholehearted apology for attending an illegal party during lockdown, but insisted he didn't knowingly break the rules or mislead Parliament and brushed off calls to resign. Now, the details.
The life and legacy of His Excellency Vance Winkworth Amory, former Premier of Nevis, was honored at a special sitting of the Nevis Island Assembly on Tuesday, April 19th, 2022. Past and present members of the National Assembly of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Nevis Island Assembly paid tribute to His Excellency Vance W. Amory, a former educator, banker and cricketer. Opening the tributes were Dr. the Right Excellent and Right Honorable Sir Kennedy A. Simmons, who served as Prime Minister from 1983 to 1995.
My political connections with Vance came at the advent of independence in 1983, when he served as Permanent Secretary of Finance to Premier Simeon Daniel in the Nevis Island administration. In that capacity, he was directly involved in the implementation of the financial arrangements between St. Kitts and Nevis as established in the Constitution. I was able to appreciate at close range his high intellect, his close attention to detail, and his total commitment to the welfare of the people of Nevis. However, it was in 1993 that I experienced the statesmanship of Vance Amory.
His Excellency Vance W. Amory, after leaving elective politics prior to the June 2020 general elections, was appointed as Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary in the office of the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris.
I rise with your leave, Mr. President, to pay tribute to a man whom I have long considered as the embodiment of a true national hero. And I look forward to the fulfillment of this in due course by the relevant committee. I speak of none other than our late Ambassador Vance Winkworth Amory, former Premier of Nevis, founding leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, and former senior minister in the federal government with responsibility for Nevis affairs, social security, ecclesiastical affairs, and labor. At the time of his passing, he was serving as Ambassador Extraordinary Plenipotentiary in the office of the Prime Minister. When Ambassador Amory breathed his last on Saturday, April 2nd, 2022, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis lost a stalwart, an astute politician, and an elder statesman. On that day, I personally lost a friend, a principled and honest political partner in the Team Unity government, and a fountain of wise counsel, on whom I had come to rely for the past 10 years.
Honorable Mark Brantley, Premier of Nevis and leader of the Concerned Citizens Movement, founded and first led by Mr. Amory, was among the parliamentarians paying tribute to his former colleague in the political arena.
Here you have a man who in so many ways excelled, and who whatever he put his hand to, as we have heard, would have done it well. As a nation, we are shaped by what and who we remember. Therefore, Mr. President, it matters today that our country remembers the life, courage, sacrifice, and legacy of Vance Winkworth Amory. He devoted much of his adult life to serving his country, his people, and the principles for which it stands. A nation, as we know, is not just a flag, an anthem, and a coat of arms. It is much more. It also embodies our beliefs, aspirations, principles, and values. Throughout his career, and indeed until his very last breath, Vance Amory understood this and exemplified it. A lot has been said here today about the life and legacy of Vance, and is placed among the pantheon of our political heroes. Some may say it perhaps falls short of truly representing the man and what he stood for. The praise and tributes mentioned here today may eventually fade, but what will never fade is the impact that he had on the people with whom he came into contact, and the country that he loved and cherished so dearly.
Deputy Prime Minister Honorable Sean Richards, former Prime Minister, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzil L. Douglas, and former colleague and longtime friend, Premier of Nevis from 2006 to 2013, Honorable Joseph Parry, also spoke of the life and work of His Excellency Vance W. Amory. Other past and present parliamentarians who spoke at the special sitting in honor of former Premier Amory were Deputy Premier and Member of Parliament for Nevis 4, Honorable Alexis Jeffers, Member of Parliament for Nevis 3, Honorable Eric Evelyn, Member of Parliament for Nevis 1, Honorable Spencer Brand, Member of Parliament for Nevis 5, Honorable Cleone Stapleton Simmons, Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams, nominated member in the Nevis Island Assembly, Nurse Jean Harris, former Member of Parliament for Nevis 4, and Mr. Livingston Herbert, former nominated member in the Nevis Island Assembly. The special sitting to mark the passing of His Excellency Ambassador Vance Amory was presided over by President of the Nevis Island Assembly, the Honorable Farrell Smithen.
In regional news,
members of the opposition United National Congress in Trinidad and Tobago took to the streets on Monday to protest against the gas price increase which took effect Monday. Despite explanations from the government on why the fuel subsidy needed to be impacted, the opposition stood steadfast on their disdain for the move. The UNC demonstrators took to walkovers and areas in El Socorro, Barataria, St. Joseph, St. Augustine, Chinapuna, La Horqueta, Sangre Grande, and Valencia to voice their positions. The UNC has described the increases as a slap in the face to people who have already shouldered financial burdens throughout the course of the pandemic. Armed with placards, supporters gathered from 7 a.m. to reject the increases. They called on the government to rescind the decision they say will only worsen the hardships many have already faced for the past 2 years. Councillor for Debe South, Kemraj Sisharan, said the party rejects the government's justification for the fuel price hike, especially when the Petrotrine refinery was closed under its administration. The councillor also dismissed claims that the party's protest was ill-timed given the return of students to physical classes today. He said the demonstration was necessary as government has governed for themselves and not the people and placed additional burden on the common man. Meanwhile, opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bisasa, while blasting the increase, said her party intends to tackle the issue head-on.
We are protesting against the fourth increase in fuel prices. We are protesting against the increases in food prices. We are protesting against the murder and mayhem with the rise in crime in our country. And you know, all of this is happening today, the first day of school in 2 years. And what does your Prime Minister do? He jump on a plane and go on Barbados. Jump and run. Rowley, you're going Barbados, but we say Rowley must go. Rowley must go. He has no care for the children or the families of our country.
She said the opposition will continue to push back against the increase in the coming days.
Well, tomorrow we have questions we will file in Parliament. We have urgent motions we intend to file, one on the hike in the gas prices, another one will be hike on the murder, mayhem and crime, two urgent matters in the Parliament tomorrow, and of course Prime Minister's questions, but we'll only have the best actor who should get an Oscar award. Imbert will be acting, so Rowley's gone, hopefully Imbert can answer some of the questions we have. So in the Parliament, outside the Parliament, we will hold them to account.
Trinidad and Tobago's opposition leader Kamla Prasad-Bisasa has accused government of using state resources to, quote, do their dirty work. At a UNC demonstration against the hike of fuel prices on Tuesday, Prasad-Bisasa was responding to a memo being circulated allegedly by top officials of the TTPS in relation to the party's planned demonstrations which took place from as early as 6 a.m. The memo allegedly noted the UNC's points of protests as well as a cell phone number linked to the party's organizing committee. While Prasad Bisarsa said she had nothing to hide, the Gestapo-type spying was unacceptable.
I shared at the last venue there that they're spying and backward on us. So we see in the United Kingdom that Boris Johnson, number 10 Downing Street, is a target for the spyware, the same Pegasus.
Yeah.
And then I got a confidential memo, a whistleblower shared with me, which is saying they were spying on us. They put phone numbers and so on, that the UNC is planning activities, where we'll be, where we will not.
The UNC have recently accused the government of spying on citizens of the country, including members of the UNC.
We now bring you these international reports.
It was the first time that Boris Johnson had spoken to MPs about the fine that he received during the Easter recess, one of a number of fines handed out to senior figures in Downing Street by the Metropolitan Police as part of their ongoing investigation into allegations of rule breaches, specifically parties, in Downing Street during periods of COVID lockdown. He repeated the public apology he'd made at the time, acknowledging people's hurt and disappointment, saying they had a right to expect more from their leaders, from the very people who made those rules in the first place. But did he think he'd actually done anything wrong?
Let me also say, not by way of mitigation or excuse, but purely because it explains my previous words in this House, that it did not occur to me then or subsequently that a gathering in the Cabinet room just before a vital meeting on COVID strategy could amount to a breach of the rules. I repeat, that was my mistake, and I apologise for it unreservedly.
That will infuriate many of his critics, including MPs within his own party, of course, who will likely continue to feel that Boris Johnson is failing to give this issue the gravity it deserves, and that he continues to seek to lessen, to minimise, to trivialise his own misconduct. Here was the leader of the opposition Labour Party, Keir Starmer.
What a joke. Even now, as the latest mealy-mouthed apology stumbles out of one side of his mouth, a new set of deflections and distortions pour from the other.
Peril still lies ahead for Boris Johnson, of course. There remains the likelihood that more fines will be handed out by the Metropolitan Police as its investigation continues. Indeed, Boris Johnson himself may yet receive more fines. And the local elections in May loom, at which the Conservative Party is expected to fare badly. If it does, that could be held up as the public's judgment of Boris Johnson, and at that point his position could be tenuous indeed.
Meet Sister Alfonsina Caesar. Clad in her white veil tucked under a builder's hat, she spends most of her day manning a micro-hydroelectric plant she built to overcome daily electricity cuts in her hometown of Miti in Democratic Republic of Congo.
The convent needed an electrician, a technician who could help. They saw in me the talent of electrical engineering, so they offered me an opportunity to go study electrical engineering. That's where it all started. It was the convent that made me study. I studied at ITFM, and when I finished, I started this service.
Blackouts are a daily disruption across the country, which sources most of its electricity from a run-down and mismanaged hydropower system. Despite millions of dollars in donor funding, the World Bank estimates that only around 20% of the population has access to electricity. Fed up with relying on candlelight and costly fuel-powered generators, Caesar started raising money in 2015 to build the hydropower plant. Thanks to her efforts, students can now learn computer skills from screens rather than books.
With the current we produce for the school, we believe that we are training young people. And with the current that we give to the hospital, we feel that we serve the whole population because we are there for the poor. And it is in the hospital that we meet people from poor backgrounds.
Without the plant, residents in Miti would only have electricity 2 or 3 days a week for a few hours.
Now, Johnny Depp, the Hollywood actor, has appeared in court in Virginia on the 5th day of the defamation case he brought against his ex-wife, Amber Heard. The lawsuit centres on an article Ms. Heard wrote for the Washington Post in which she described herself as a victim of domestic violence. David Silito was in court.
Good afternoon, Mr. Depp.
Good afternoon.
Can you please tell the jury why you're here today?
Yes.
That pause rather captures the moment. His audience, a court, and this, Johnny Depp's one chance to salvage his reputation. Watching was his ex-wife, Amber Heard, who says she endured months of violence during their brief marriage. All of it, he says, is a lie.
Never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I ever struck any woman in my life.
Two completely opposed accounts of a marriage, and so many of the witnesses are either close friends or employees. And the events, most of them took place behind closed doors. So the heart of this for the lawyers is who to believe, which is why today matters. He talked of childhood abuse, his long career, and the effect of the allegations.
One day you're Cinderella, so to speak, and then in 0.6 seconds you're Quasimodo. And I didn't deserve that, nor did my children, nor did the people who have believed in me for all these years.
Okay, we'll take a recess. Thank you.
Thank you.
Throughout, he was careful, hesitant, serious. Of course, this is just one side of the story. Amber Heard's will follow, but as they rose to leave for recess, a little whistle, a smile. David Silito, BBC News, Fairfax, Virginia.
You were listening to the Win FM Headline News on 98.9. Our top stories were:
Parliamentarians honor the legacy of the late His Excellency Ambassador Vance Amory.
In Trinidad and Tobago, members of the opposition, the United National Congress, protested the increase in fuel prices in country on Monday, Carib Update reports. Internationally, British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has offered what he calls a wholehearted apology for attending an illegal party during lockdown, but insisted he didn't knowingly break the rules or mislead Parliament and brushed off calls to resign. Thank you for listening.
That was the Win FM Headline News. The Headline News is brought to you by Caribbean Alliance, The Grange, KDP Enterprises, Carib Brewery, and National Bank.
With over a century of perfection behind the Mackeson name, a smooth blend with perfect balance and richness. It's no wonder Mackeson Triple Stout has a legacy of perfection. Enjoy the world over. Introducing our new look with the same great taste. Mackeson. All hail the king.
Please drink responsibly.
Protect your lifestyle with Caribbean Alliance Insurance. Till you walk with a low reputation and service for second to none. Securing you is our mission. People that you can trust, your business, property, we got you covered. Motor or personal, whatever it is, we got you covered. 130 years in this business, we've got you covered. For all your insurance needs, visit or call us at 465-26 or 469-5303. Dealey Walwyn, people you can trust.
Shipping your cargo shouldn't be a hassle. It can be as easy as a single call to Amerijet International, your worldwide cargo transportation solution. We provide all the services you need to ship your goods anywhere in the world, whether your shipment is fresh, frozen, large or small, alive or hazardous. You can count on Amerijet to deliver it safe and sound. Amerijet International, by land, sea or air, we get it there. For more information, visit us online at www.amerijet.com or call us at KDP Enterprises at 466-9595.
Did you know that the Grange Healthcare Facility is the first purpose-built, non-governmental healthcare organization on St. Kitts? It's situated at Otley's, 7 miles east of Basseterre in beautifully landscaped surroundings. The Grange has a team of highly trained professionals and provides care that's rated as being comparable with UK and North American standards. The Grange offers varied accommodations to suit your individual needs, and our all-inclusive packages make the cost of care per hour the most competitive on the island. Services include convalescent care for all ages, daycare facilities for older adults, rehabilitation services, and training and continuing education for healthcare providers. For more information, call 466-5525 or 465-8020. Fax 466-8221 or email thegrangehealth@gmail.com or visit our website at www.grangehealthcarefacility.com.
Stop standing in long ATM lines to withdraw cash. Use your national debit or black cards to complete a wide variety of transactions at supermarkets, variety stores, gas stations, pharmacies, and more. Shop online at the most popular websites and stores for quality brands using your national debit or black cards. And take back your time to enjoy all the things that you love to do. Remember, instead of waiting in long ATM lines to withdraw cash, use your national bank cards today.
National Bank, always here.
Found the Sound 98.9 FM.
Bust a move. Door-busting savings happening now. Horsford's Automotive is busting loose. Huge door-busting discounts on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. Bust loose with as much as $25,000 off on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seaters. Yes, up to $25,000 off on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. But that's not all. Down payment busted. Absolutely no down payment. Payment on bill of sale. Busted. No payment on bill of sale. Payment on servicing for 12 months. Busted. Free servicing for 1 year. Buy groceries on gas for up to 3 months. Your choice. Busted. Your choice of absolutely free groceries or gas for 3 months. Payment on registration and licensing, tinting and accessories. All busted. That means they're totally free. Horsford Automotive is busting loose with its Bus a Move sales event on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. Bus a Move and get your new 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater today for as much as $25,000 off. Bus a Move now at Horsford Automotive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Good afternoon and welcome back to the second half of Voices. My name is Socrates, host of today's program. It's about 29 minutes up to 1 o'clock. We'll be until 1:30, roughly an hour. I want to thank our callers, our contributors from this morning first half. As we go into the second half of this program, this morning we discussed the period of mourning recommended by the Prime Minister and the Governor General to observe in observance of. Oh, we got a hard call. Let me pause, take this call. Caller 11 Voices. But I've lost a caller. Okay, hey. Caller 11 Voices.
Hi, good afternoon, the King.
Good afternoon, sir. How about thou?
I'm getting thanks for life. And yourself?
Count my blessings first, all is well.
Yeah. On certain days, it's a juggle in terms of radio station and my contribution. So I did not hear much of what you had to say, except for when Mrs. Henry called in. I wish to say good afternoon to Mrs. Henry and all that are listening.
Mhm.
Some housekeeping first.
Okay.
The FCCA, the acronym FCCA, are you familiar with the acronym FCCA?
ST?
I think it's an annual fair, or trade fair.
Yeah, you're talking about
that are held in Florida.
Yeah. The trade, yes. Sea trade.
Yeah, the trade, yeah. Are you attending? Is Mr. Richardson attending? Which one of the
You saw me yesterday. You saw me yesterday. You Africa saw me yesterday. Okay? Let me back up. Discussions were held. We needed to send someone of the presidents. Okay? And we discussed a budget, what it would cost, etc. And we're working on that. Okay? You could have asked me this yesterday, in person or whenever, whether he's attending or I'm attending. It's more than that. Right? But Minister Grant and other, they're excited about the fact that we would be going to represent. But this is something you could ask me. So if I say, no, we're not attending, the next question is, so why? Don't do that to me, Africa. We have discussions all the time. But intent was that one of us should attend. They said only one they could take.
Yeah,
Right?
agree, because of the, the cost and, the
Yes,
arrangement
we
for
discussed.
the hotel fees. And
So
I know
one
it's
of the
not
presidents has been trying to reach the Prime Minister to get more funding. As you would know, over the past 2 years, our coffers has been drained because of COVID. So we're not in a position to fund ourselves. Based on what we were required to pay, we cannot afford it. And Africa, you're not going to have had this any given place, any given time. You know that.
Yeah, because I am aware, and what emanates from the last meeting I attended at the Marriott Ballroom is that Mrs. Henry Morton made some sentiment as to a closer collaboration with the taxi associations and the tourism authority, because in her words, I am paraphrasing, it has been too much of a confrontation, the relationship has not been as smooth as it ought to be. So, given the fact that the tourism authority normally would attend, and given the fact that the taxi associations are not as robust financially, within that corporation, within that better agreement in terms of our partnership, I'm not relying on them to foot no bill. But given the fact that tourism funds are allocated through budgets and all of these things from the federal parliament and the like.
Correct.
All of that would have been considered that we are the smaller partner of the two. That someone of the taxi association, some representative of that August or those August bodies should be a part of our contingent. should be
Correct.
a part of the contingent going there.
Correct.
As you know that we always say that, and we are realizing it as the seasons go by. More bookings are pre-booked than before. And had we been there, someone been there to represent us, we should not complain about more bookings. We are being sidelined as taxi association who will move the people and the guests around. We should not complain if we are there. But we will have our right to complain if we are not represented. So I think that, that a concerted effort should be made on behalf of our partners, tourism, the authority, to assist us in whichever way possible.
They offer to assist up to a certain level. They offer to assist up to a certain point. They may have had the budget sorted before.
That.
So,
And
one
I
of
do
the presidents,
appreciate
one of the three presidents has been trying to reach the prime minister. I know he's made efforts, he made call. I don't think he's had a response up to yet. To ask him to better fund us to go there. Now, over the years, we were a bit blasé. But as I pointed out in the meeting at the Marriott, it's like standing at the top of 4th Street and watching a whole Juve entourage come up, throngs of people. Jamming. That was the optics of the people coming off that ship there. Or was it Wednesday morning? About 95% of them pre-booked. The beach jobs that we used to get, the local people take all that, everything. And so Mr. Grant was very excited with the optics or the option of us going to better represent work coming to us because he cannot control these entities. They've taken everything. They've used COVID to put the greed on steroids. Even the beach job we used to get. So we
There
have
is another thing that is high on my agenda, the King, and it's something Mr. Matthew and others would have proposed, and it is there to be looked at. But I'm gonna
you wanna
observe.
hear it now?
I'm gonna observe a little bit and see what's going on. But if there's another thing on the agenda, I shall not speak of it now. Let me go into what Mrs. Henry said, and I agree with her, seeing that the president of Rwanda, Mr. Paul Kagame, was here. And I don't think he is a Maasai. I think he is of one of those ethnic groups of Rwanda. You remember the war in 1994, I think?
Yep,
Tutsi
the
and
genocide
Hutu.
thing here.
I think he's one of those ethnic groups. I don't know what they fall under, but one of them ethnic group might have fallen under the Bantu, the larger Bantu grouping, or the Nilotic grouping. Anyway, Mr. Henry, I agree with you that a president, and there should be collaboration amongst the Caribbean leaders, that here is a president, just like how we see the royals visited Jamaica, Belize, and the Bahamas. When presidents and royals and whatsoever come to these shores, in terms of our foreign minister, I agree that our foreign minister should be on the ball and say, why not? Because we are in the Caribbean, and why would we be left out? We need not to be left out. As small as we are, you know, I know that they may not be able to visit all the islands at the one given time, but I can only speak for myself, a petition, and a vision for St. Kitts Nevis. They can speak for themselves. So yes, our foreign minister probably is preoccupied with local, internal scuffles and what have you. You know that probably would have been an oversight on his behalf. But going forward, we want to see, leaders from the continent come to our shores. They frequent Jamaica and Barbados a lot. But given that we were colonized by the British in 1623, and we were considered to be the first British colony, we should always want to be decolonized by even what a president from the continent have to say to us in terms of our decolonization. Whatever good things that they have to say, let it be said to St. Kitts and Nevis that was colonized in 1623 as the first British colony in the Caribbean.
You think it should be a matter of priority?
Look at it.
Do you think that it should be a matter of priority that they dialogue with us first?
Yeah, all of that can be a part of the whole thing. But as foreign minister, you know, the communication within the Caribbean should be at par, you know, on par with who is coming and who is not, and you know why you think you should make best of a visit from one of those leaders on the continent. And I agree with Mrs. Henry that we have started, and she's a conscious person of that nature. That sooner that we have started, we agitated because we saw the signs coming in, and we continue to agitate to know that the start has begun quite a while before we see tangible things of visit and the like, things of communication. You visit, I visit you, and so forth. So this is another chapter in our whole rewriting of our history, that we must come together. Our unity is so evasive, but we will get it together. We're just going to leave the foundation, or build on the foundation that has already been laid, to pass it on to our children and our grandchildren going forward. And I also agree with Mrs. Henry. We need to use diplomatic words. You know what I mean?
The what?
Dogs and cats and so, they're part of the animal spheres, the animal kingdom, queendom, and so forth. But I agree that when we adjust our leaders, we have to somewhat adjust them. Unless we're going to use like a sort of like metaphor, you know, to use an animalistic, you know, because animals are totems also. So if you're going to say like the Lion of Judah, or you know, or the canine, you know, we use it in a metaphor. But to refer to a political leader or our leaders as in words of animalistic aspects,
Got your point.
Diplomacy should we should have diplomacy and adjust them. After all, they are leaders. Adjust them in the appropriate manner.
Okay.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Any callers there? Okay. To dovetail on where Africa was going, from the meeting we had last week at the Marriott with the Minister Grant, the Tourism Authority, and other stakeholders, a wide-ranging topics were discussed, mainly to get taxi drivers to, you know, air their concerns, find out where we're coming from, where we need to go, etc. And yes, that topic was raised about one of us going to the Sea Trade to better market our businesses. As people are saying, taxi drivers need to do this and do that. So that was raised. That's the option that we have. And yes, as I said, we don't have the enough funds for doing so. But it has been done in the past. But right now, because of what's happening, that need to be addressed. But we work. We had discussion with lawyers, insurance executive as to how to better amalgamate. We're doing that. So we're getting there. But in terms of the next season, before we get there, we are told that for May, the next month of May, we have 2 cruise calls scheduled for that entire month. We'll get back to that after we take this call. Caller, live on Voices. Go to caller, you're live on Voices.
Good afternoon, Mr. Hodge.
Good afternoon, sir. How about that?
Not too bad, sir.
Haven't heard your voice for a long time, man.
I'm here to try to listen to most of all the program now.
That's a good thing. Stay informed.
Education. Something bothering me about just between you and Mr. The other guy who was just speaking.
Africa?
Africa.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's like you didn't expect that he will ask you a question like that about the meeting that comes out.
No, if I'm going, or any president's going, this is something we discuss all the time.
Yeah, but still, what he wanted, I mean, you have open program, and he wanted to find out exactly what was the situation that everybody in St. Kitts know exactly what is about to take place between the tourism and the taxi men them to what is what. But the way I said, I didn't like it because both of you all are taxi drivers.
And he know I answered, and I said to him, He could have asked me this question at any place, any time. But to try to out me on radio, if I said no, we're not going, is why we're not going. Come on.
Okay. You said your point?
Yes.
And I stick to my point because, I mean, I respect both of y'all. And whatever y'all do as taxi drivers. And the next thing, why should the president try to get in contact with the prime minister when you have a minister of tourism? Should have been able to get in contact with the prime minister, put his grievances about the situation. Why does the president have to be calling the prime minister?
You want me to answer that too?
Sure, I would like you.
We were in meetings with the Minister of Tourism. Okay? And they extended help to us so far. But what we need is a lot more. So, one of the presidents thought he would approach the Minister of Finance. The budget that tourism have may not be enough to take us based on what they offered us. So this president decided to reach out to the Minister of Finance, whom he has dialogue with, better dialogue with. So that's what he's trying to do. So we didn't bypass the Minister of Tourism. We didn't say that we're not getting any help from the Minister of Tourism. You got a better picture now?
Yeah, I got a picture now because you bring it out clear. Everyone could know exactly what was taking place and how one of the presidents tried to get everything organized properly so you all could benefit more for the federation.
We invited, the Minister Gandhi is excited if he can go because it takes a lot of pressure off him. Because I said to him in the meeting, this issue of where the cruise ships are still selling tours on the ground. Now they may have removed them from selling in the arrival hall, but down the gangway, they're killing us. People are coming up saying that the ships are telling them that they can't book with us; they have to book through them. They hold them at ransom. And so I ask him, please, once again, to write them and let them know this cannot be encouraged. It cannot continue.
But that's a way that the minister now had to put on his foot in certain things and not to let certain people do as they like.
At one point, my friend, they threatened to pull out. It may have been a bluff. But they said to them, if they're not allowed to sell their tours there, they're going to pull out. This was at the time we were just coming out of COVID shutdown. So they were more or less over barrel. I'm not making any excuses for them, but that was their attitude. And many of the guests come off and said they had to sign a waiver. So the action is almost criminal. They're holding people at ransom, lying to them, saying to them, you cannot book with those guys there. And so last Wednesday, 95% of those who came off the ship were pre-booked. And they went with local entities who are just greedy because all those beach jobs we used to get, they're not taking it on. And the sad part about it, they're giving the two taxi drivers who complain they can't find work, but they're actually undermining ourselves. So at the meeting we had at the Marriott, that came out. There's some of them who signed contract with these, I won't call the name. So they're getting, and they're happy, but they have actually undermined the industry in terms of the majority. So you spoon feed a few, and they're happy. It's like the house nigger versus the one in the field. The house slave, he's happy because he's inside the master's house. He's all well and good for him. He's not feeling what you in the field is feeling, so he's not taking on your battle. He's every man for himself.
Well, anyhow, I'm glad you're telling us exactly what went on into the meeting and what is the situation going forth that the federation could benefit because
we're working on it.
COVID.
We're working because
COVID, we all suffered a lot. Taxi drivers, them suffered a lot because, I used to work down there and I know how it was down there with the taxi drivers and tourists. Which sometimes I used to have to put myself in and explain to them the situation of certain taxi drivers.
Yesterday, another president and I had to leave the port to go out and craft a tour that will benefit everybody. We left
Definitely.
a job there to go out and we represent. And when I got back, I didn't get a job. But you know very well, the day I get a job, it's back and all.
What will be the talk?
Oh, he was full again, but I left here yesterday to go and create a tour or help create a tour that will benefit all the drivers. So we are oftentimes our worst enemy, but we're trying.
I know how
We're
it is.
trying because
I
there's
know how it is.
the greater good will prevail.
Yeah, but anyhow, I just hope that everything goes well after the ambassador.
We're hoping for a good season next year.
After and the ambassador laid to rest, and everything can come straight forward.
Definitely.
Like how it was in the years gone by, and then everybody can.
Well, the good old days don't come back. It's what we do with the here and now. Is what we do with the here and now. The good old days we wish for, they're gone. But we're doing so much in the here and now that doesn't benefit a better tomorrow. But that's what it is. And it's really good to hear your voice, Mr. Dwyer. It's really good to hear your voice, okay?
Yeah, thank you very much. I was listening.
No problem. Enjoy the next one. We're going to pause now for a
I
word
love
from...
to listen to Miss Henry too, because a lot of people do not like her.
That's okay.
Henry does speak certain things that we all need to listen to Miss Henry, and we can understand exactly what she's speaking and how she's speaking things.
On Palm Sunday, they celebrated Christ.
Definitely.
By Friday, they crucify him. Take on that. We're going to pause on that word for a word from our sponsors, and we will be right back.
It's tool season at Horswood's Building and Needle Centers, and we're making it easy to get the right tools for your home improvement. For this April Tools Month, hundreds of tools store-wide have been slashed by 25% off. That's 25% off tools store-wide, from drills to cutters, wrenches to hammers, and much more. It's tool season at Horswood's this April with 25% off store-wide on tools. Horswood's Building and Needle Centers, St. Kitts and Nevis' favorite home improvement stores, making home improvement easy. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA Value Club Blue Tax Special.
Running April 21st to
May 4th. Pearl pancake mixes, $10.99. Langer's cranberry juices, $9.99. Nabisco Oreo cookies are just $19.99. Tropicana punches, $7.99. Lactate milk, $17.99. And Tony's pizzas are $15.49. And now your very low weekly
value deals. Multi-meal cereals, $12.99. Pillsbury cake mixes, $5.99. Suave essential shampoo and conditioner, $7.99. Pepperidge Farm cakes, $14.99. Dial soap, $9.99. Extra liquid detergent, $12.99. Shop smart, shop value mart. Joan in español.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí a
Value Mart.
We're back and we go straight to the phone lines. Call your live and voices. We would have missed out one. In the interim, may say good afternoon to Rosemary, Joey, Savannah, Monifa, Maya, Jennifer, Brenda, Chris Collins. Okay. And we have a caller line. Call your live and voices. Good afternoon, caller. Your live and voices.
Hi, the King.
Yes, sir. How are you? Yeah, okay.
I'm picking from the last caller's perspective. I always use this forum to ask anything when it comes to tourism, because to me tourism is not personal like me. I know it's a fraternity, it's a body, and I know people are listening. Believe it or not, a lot of people listen to this program. And this is the way I always come, by presenting everything, all things tourism to the fore, to use this forum, this platform. I myself, you, and others have extended families that are affected in a positive way or negative way by our industry, by our trade, our profession. And so I always use these forums to reach the people. I have to reach the pulse of the people. This is where I get my feedback from. This is how I know I reach in people. and I always be careful about what I say, how I comes across, always respectful to know that I have set a standard, and I'm not going to lower my standards. My standards have to reach the highest heavens. And so I would not ask certain questions to certain things. It's not a secret. I ask these questions in a polite, nice way to get answers, not to put anyone on the spot, but to get answers. And I think we have a good collaboration, you know. People give feedback from our discussion.
Quite so.
As you know. And so that's just my take on the whole of it.
Okay. On that particular note, we would have made a public statement once we got it sorted. On that particular, you know that, we communicate, we would have made a statement on that particular issue once we got it sorted. So that's basically asked me one-on-one. It wasn't something I would bring to the air until it was sorted. And that was my issue with that. But fair enough.
I know before, yes, public representative of the body, the fraternity, have attended before, and I don't know. But to generalize it, I sought this forum to do so. That's just me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, all right.
Fair enough. Okay, I want to take this moment to send condolences out to one of our members, the family of one of the members, Dion Berridge. He passed last week. We know that he's been ailing for some time. Sad to say, his time has come on his pass. I think we will get some information as to when he will be interned. But of course, he was a well-known taxi operator. Unfortunately, sometimes things happen and we're not able to give our all. I know somebody was trying to to make a contribution to fly him overseas to pay for an ambulance, but he passed short before then. And I raised the question a few days ago among some taxi drivers. What do you guys think about a taxi or tour operators emergency fund, medical emergency fund? And they will check, well, me too old for that. Or, well, we had one already and this and that and that and this and that. What I'm saying, this is a medical emergency fund because too many times, not only taxi drivers, people are passing the hat. We had in one of the associations, I won't mention that, an insurance, a group insurance that we paid into, and there are many members who benefited. One person in particular had a medical situation. He was flown to Barbados, given surgery. As a matter of fact, his wife was allowed to accompany him, all paid for, well, up to a certain point. Another thing had to go to Trinidad for surgery. I was on some mega $1,000, and the insurance paid that. We had a group insurance over the years. Members would not pay the subscription. And so the taxi association had to keep paying them the slack. One of the reasons why they broke. And then they made a major investment and blah, blah, blah. And then in the latter days, the fund went defunct. So where we had that assurance, if there was a medical emergency, so I'm saying, fellas, why can't we get together and create? Well, how are we going to happen? Oh, I'm old for that. That's the initial reaction. And so in the case of the young one who passed, somebody was about to write a check so he could fly overseas and receive the help that he needed. Unfortunately, he passed before that took place, but we need to look at ourselves. So Africa, if you want to weigh in on that, I mean, I raise it. Fellas, what do you think about creating a taxi medical emergency fund? Because that insurance pillows also that we had, we lost that. We've lost that. And this would be once you're functioning. If you were 95 and you were still contributing as a driver, you would benefit. It's while you're active. Because many of us don't have that. That, what I want to call it now, forget, to fall back on in times of distress. I say it's not to fix your vehicle, it's not to buy tires. I know we just came out of a very long period of depression, financial depression. And we're in recovery to some extent. But as was pointed out, For the month of May, we're going to have 2 ships, maybe 1 or 2 in the following month. So betwixt now and October, it's going to be a rough time for many persons. And we'll only hope that the lending institutions would, understand. Hopefully, if nothing untoward happens, we are actually, as of June 1st, going into the hurricane season. Anything can happen. I'm not being pessimistic, I'm being realistic. But we keep our fingers crossed, and hopefully we survive until the next season. Hopefully, it can be a lot better. Well, it shouldn't be able to get any worse than what we just experienced. But given where we came from, I think we're okay. One of my guests who I drove last week, we had toured from Port Zante, we gone to Black Rocks, and he was telling me, based on the conditions of your roads and the infrastructure that I've seen, your money is well spent. And he started to compare us to other countries he's been to. He said, you guys are doing great. And I said, yes, I know. Sometimes you talk to somebody, they keep saying, I know. And you're thinking, yeah, you know everything. What he was saying to me, I said, yes, I know. Yeah, your roads are beautiful. Yes, I know. Your infrastructure, I can see. Yes, I know. We have a paradise here. It's actually twin slice. And we have to be careful about how we go about things, husbanding what we have. We have a beautiful industry. And once we get our guests to see what we have to offer and they're that impressed, they're going to tell a story. And they would like to come back and share. So to recap, my opening topics were the political impasse as it relates to the issue of trust amongst the leadership of the 3 parties that make up the Team Unity government. But we'll pause now for a call. Call a live on Voices. I hope I haven't lost you. Give it a chance. Try to get back in. We would love to hear from you. Yes, the ultimatum that was issued. And today being designated. Okay, pause. Caller, you're live on Voices. Good afternoon, caller. You're live on Voices. We'll try to get you connected. Are you there? May have some difficulties. Okay, Chris Collins up in Sheffield claim is the best place in the world to live. I get his commentary. I had a commentary from Mr. I'm going to out you, Mr. Heiliger. Okay. Caller, live on Voices.
Hello?
Good day, call. Good afternoon. You're live on Voices.
Well, the king.
Sir. You got it eventually.
I'm not going to say what I'm feeling right now. But anyway, it's either your 662 number is not working and something is going on with this 466 number. But anyway.
You're here.
Yeah, good afternoon. I just want to say good afternoon to Mrs. Henry.
Mm-hmm.
And just to respond to what Mrs. Henry says pertaining to Journey, I am fully aware of the changes and the connection that are being conducted with our leaders from the continent and those in the Caribbean diaspora.
Happy to hear.
She also said that I have said that our leaders are greedy dogs. Now, I did say that. I didn't say all of our leaders. I said our leaders are greedy dogs. And by that, I said it because I read it in the scriptures. Because those who are supposed to be leading, I am not being disrespectful to my leader or my leaders here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I globalize African leaders, and that includes Caribbean leaders. And why I said that is because it is in the scriptures. Now look at what is playing out before us here in St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yep.
So yes, I said that because I read it in the scriptures.
So you'll be biblical.
Yes.
Okay.
They have become hireling, and like I said, if they sold out their sovereignty for filthy lucre, woe be unto them. Because they're supposed to be leading and guiding us. You know, Greg always said that we need leaders who are biblical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are many school of thought to what Greg is saying, because for me, when he says, and I'm just paraphrasing, and he might have chose a different word, but for me, referring to the Bible. The Bible is our story. The Bible is also a book of blood, and the Bible gave us a God of blood, because in the Bible, it says God has killed, and God has ordered to kill. So I am looking beyond all of that is in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. The Bible is our history. It's our story. You know, King, I'm going to say this. There's a story of a man in the Bible called Job. All was taken from him. And Mrs. Henry responded to when I talk about Job, I think was last week. And she said, Job, in the end, get twice as much as what he had in the first time.
He was restored.
Well, the moral behind the story is that Job got twice as much he had before, and all was taken from him. Now, here are us. We were taken. We were brought here by force, by genocide. Everything Job lost, that's us. That is us. So when Job retained twice as much before, after, when are we going to attain what is ours? That is awaiting us on the continent of Africa. We are the prodigal sons in the diaspora. The prodigal son said, I will arise and go back to my father's house, and said, I have sinned. I have sinned. We were taken by force, the king.
I see you trying your best to lead the uprising.
Sorry?
I said you're trying your endeavor best to lead the uprising.
Well, you see, I may have chose words that Mrs. Henry would reminded me of, like all of our leaders are greedy dogs. Well, it is in the scripture, because believe it or not, the king, we are fulfilling scriptures. The voices that you're hearing, Mines and one of your caller before, and Kalanji, we are the voices in the wilderness. And as the scripture said, Jesus came to his own, and his own received him not. These are we. We are the ones who are speaking to our own, and they're not hearing us. So we are fulfilling scriptures. So I say again, woe be unto those leaders who are supposed to be doing the right for the people, by the people. And they have become greedy dogs for filthy lucre.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Can you recall, do you know of any prime minister in SKN who is more Christian or goes to more church than the current prime minister?
Listen, church for me is something that we have to burn. Let me repeat that. Because COVID has taught us that we no longer have to go into a building. And to the mayor in Hertfordshire, with all the respect to him, he himself raised that some time ago during COVID. Our ancestors and the Most High are telling us. And again, let me say this, King, I'm going to finish now. Mrs. Henry is very versed in the scripture. The connection that our leaders are making now from the continent to the Caribbean, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. We are going to be brought back into the land of our ancestors that the Bible calls forefathers. It is written, it is inevitable. Africa, the continent of Africa, will unite. And you see this war that is happening right now with Ukraine and Russia?
Yep.
Nations going to rise up against nations. That is them. Those are the ones who have mastered the art of killing the king. You know their history. We are of peace. Now, yes, we have been killing ourselves because we are misinformed. And the system is part of what put us to kill ourselves and hate ourselves. The king.
I'm listening.
I am the voice in the wilderness among others.
Crying out.
I am the Christ that has come to my own, and they're not hearing. The scriptures we are fulfilling today. It was tampered with, and they gave us a God of blood, a God who kills when it suits him, and a God who ordered to kill. But the story of Job is us. So let us arise and claim our inheritance. Let us get out of the system and connect with our inheritance that awaits us.
Thank you, sir. The scriptures according to Jody. And I think it's time. Is there a call? If not, we pause for a word from our sponsors. Beautiful.
Supermarket shoppers understand that convenience matters. At Hortsports Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Ample parking and the widest variety matter. At Hortsports Value Mart IGA, we know that price matters most. Clean, spacious aisles and the highest level of customer service all matter. At Hortsports Value Mart IGA, price matters most. We've renewed our commitment to guarantee the lowest prices in the Federation. Why? Because we understand that in this tough economic environment, price matters most. Shop smart. Shop Value Mart, where price matters most. Farms Estate Nevis and Wellington Road, St. Kitts.
Price matters most.
Bust a move. Door busting savings happening now. Horsford's Automotive is busting loose. Huge door busting discount on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. Bust loose with as much as $25,000 off on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seaters. Yes, up to $25,000 off on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. But that's not all. Down payment busted. Absolutely no down payment. Payment on bill of sale busted. No payment on bill of sale. Payment on servicing for 12 months busted. Free servicing for 1 year. Buy groceries on gas for up to 3 months. Your choice. Busted. Your choice of absolutely free groceries or gas for 3 months. Payment on registration and licensing, tinting and accessories. All busted. That means they're totally free. Horsford Automotive is busting loose with its Bus a Move sales event on all 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater buses. Bus a Move and get your new 2020 Nissan Urban 16-seater today for as much as $25,000 off. Bus a Move now at Horsford Automotive. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
Welcome back to the program, and we have callers awaiting. Call your 11 voices.
Good afternoon, Socrates.
Good afternoon, sir. Long time hear voice.
Yeah, still here.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
I know it's your job to facilitate all shades of opinions, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But I just wondered, as someone who is, a sage in his own right, wise in his own right.
You?
You. I'm talking about you.
You're setting me up, man.
I just wondered.
I wonder what's coming now.
No, I'm just wondering why you can't share your opinion on the state of affairs here.
You start with the premise that I can't. You say you're one where you can't? Is that what you said?
No. Why you can't?
Oh, why you have not?
Somebody like that. Well, you haven't.
Well, you say right? Can't.
You facilitated opinions of others. But I, for one, would certainly be interested in hearing your take.
Shoot your question.
On the events. Okay. First of all, were you like the rest of us totally oblivious? Did this catch you by surprise? That there was this extent of...
Yes. Mainly because I've not been paying attention. I've not been paying close attention to it because there was an element of trust, and the image that were presented, I bought it.
You bought it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you didn't see the warning signs like what so many of us have been talking about in terms of the governance of the country.
Okay, so if I didn't see the warning signs that many was speaking about, I never doubted it. I never questioned what people were saying. I was not really paying close attention. So I didn't see. So I would have heard the rumblings. I would have heard the rumblings at the times I engage in conversations, but when people start to get personal, I walk away.
What do you call personal?
Okay, some people you can't have a political discussion unless they get personal. They think you're partisan and you could only entertain one opinion, and they start to get personal with you, cuss you. So I stay away from those things. There was a big debate at the taxi stand yesterday.
So what would you call, for instance, what has been happening on Patch's show?
To be honest,
would you have called that getting personal and particularly?
Yes. I saw a comment by Minister Grant. I heard a response from Patches, or maybe I thought it was just regrettable and immature.
But you realize that it was nothing new, that has been going on for some time.
Quite so.
That is why I'm wondering how come it caught you by surprise.
Well, here's what. I do not listen to that program.
Okay.
I do not. Okay. So I will hear second, because something was on Facebook between Minister Grant and Patches. That is why I aware of that. I thought it was distasteful. Distasteful.
Yeah, right.
Thought it was, but I do not listen to the show, so I'm not versed in the dialogue.
Right. Now, given that, right, and given other statements that they've made towards each other, being greedy and corrupt and untrustworthy and all those things, do you feel that, well, obviously the trust has been broken. Do you feel that it is repairable?
I doubt it.
And so in that circumstance, what do you think is the way forward?
I'm hopeful, and I think the time that people can rise above. So even though I have a doubt, I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful.
Hopeful of what? Hope in what?
Some sort of resolution that would benefit the country. We're talking about country above self. Okay? From the first convention, I realized, okay, all these things are afoot. I'm hoping the response can be, okay, let's have a dialogue and discuss this in an adult, political mature, okay.
So if it didn't happen for the past 7 years, why do you think it's possible now?
You want to hear the song, "We're gone, but the man can't come good evening out." That's what you want to hear.
I want to hear your views.
Why? Because when you step back and see what is at stake, if you're really about the country, it's time to man up. It can be done. But if it's about a selfish agenda,
but again I ask,
why do you feel it can be done?
If it was not done
in past 7 years,
all that time, because that's one of the things Brantley and Richards have been saying. That they've been taking up these things all along and have been basically ignored. So what I'm saying is, what makes this moment now so different? Isn't it because basically what we have here is an ultimatum, and once it reaches to ultimatum as opposed to negotiation stage, right? Isn't it a case of, well, either one back down or the other? The time for compromise
comes to that.
Kind of thing.
It comes to that more often than not. And that may be the case. But for people who are hopeful, who really love the Federation and would like to see some sort of solution that doesn't result in a humpy, catastrophe.
What would you call catastrophic, though? What happened?
You remember this thing, all the king horses and all the king men couldn't.
Yeah.
That's
I think you're dancing, dancing around the issue. What would you call catastrophic?
The current state of affairs.
That you don't want to see?
I don't want to see the unity construct get disbanded at a time when I thought that not only the image but the country was progressing well. I may have been an ostrich, I'll be honest. As I said, I've not been paying close attention. But what I'm seeing and hearing, I am very, very disappointed with all the parties involved. And if it's one person who is the main problem, because everybody can't be right and wrong at the same time. But adults have to sit down and come to an understanding as what's required of them. If they cannot reach get beyond that impasse, we got a problem. It's back to the polls.
But again, though, from knowing what you know now, right? It's all well and good to say, well, these three men, these three supposedly big mature.
I'm sympathetic.
Men.
I was hopeful for the first meeting. Then it went to the 14th. I was hopeful. We now we went to the 14th. Then today would have been the day when the ultimatum would have been met in one way or the other, and we're hearing now there's been no communication indicating one way or the other. This is nonsense.
Of course. But again, right, in this situation, do all of them share the blame equally, do you think?
Yes.
Or is it that
Yes.
equally? Is it equal? You think it's equal?
You asked me, all of them should share the blame because, as you said,
No, I'm asking.
when
equally,
I saw a situation
equally.
this morning, walking towards the studio, a mother said something to a child, and the child fell down and stood up and would not follow the mother. She was almost at the light. When she looked back, the child was standing. She said, "How you come?" I said, "Look at that. You allowed that to happen. That didn't just start this morning. It started a long time ago."
Exactly. But who was the recalcitrant one?
Who
was the one who was blocking any solution? That is what I'm trying to get.
I don't know for sure, but
straightforward answer from you.
diplomacy is always the first response when you have this impasses.
And from all appearances, there were attempts at
yes.
diplomacy. So again, I ask you, you know, we dance around.
Man, text me now, man. Text me, tell me what I'm saying, man.
No, because
I'm only joking. I'm only joking.
I think you know exactly what to say. If two of these guys, right, are saying that they've been trying for years and years and years with no resolution, what you want to tell me that they are equally to blame?
If I want to tell you, so you want me to say, okay, they've been trying all these years, no
How
resolution.
that sounds to you? Does that sound reasonable to you? If they're going to be now claiming, saying that what they want is, and I heard Sean Richards himself say the words, good governance, transparency, and accountability, right? If they are now echoing that and saying that they don't have that and they have a dysfunctional government, who should be blamed for that?
All of them.
They themselves say they've been trying to change that.
Okay.
I guess what I'm suggesting to you, right, is that when an organization fails, even if it fails from lower down, from people lower down not doing what they're supposed to do, who takes responsibility?
The one that they help.
Who is accountable?
The one that they help is really accountable. And on that note, I have to take another call. So, you satisfied? Okay.
All right, sir.
It's just a matter of time because we'd like to entertain a little further, but we have the next call on the line and we push in 6 minutes to. Caller, are you there? You're live on Voices. Good day, caller, are you there? Okay. If you get a chance, please.
Good afternoon, King.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you? Thanks for holding.
Oh, not too bad, man. Not too bad. I'm just here listening as usual.
Okay, talk to me. We've got about 6 minutes before we wrap up, so let's make it count.
Yeah, the King, it's a sad situation with Federation right now. With other ministers, them, like they're walking against the electorate, the people who put them there. But I believe that things could work out. Some people rejoicing because they feel like the party could get in power and do better. But I do not think, nothing better than when unity come together and try to build and uplift the country. So, King, they elect people and they want to carry out the country work. What the Prime Minister got to do?
Take it back to the people.
Go back to the call the election, go back to the poll.
Take it back to the people.
And go back to the people.
Yes, I hear you.
Whether they want unity or they want an individual party again to run
It's their choice. It's their choice to make.
Let me go back to that. That is the choice.
I respect that.
Okay, the King, you have a wonderful.
Thank you for your contribution. Okay?
Yeah, man.
Now, I have a little thing I'm asked to read, and it reads, I find it amazing that Journey never calls into weighing on whatever is happening in St. Kitts and Nevis. Maybe he should find a country in Africa to live in and call into the many radio stations in that country because clearly he doesn't care about what happens here. That one opinion. But that's the opinion of this person as it relates to Journey and the interest it shows when he calls. And we go back to the phone lines. Caller, live on Voices. Go to caller, live on Voices.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
I agree with the message that the person sent about Johnny. He need to go to Africa. I think he said he's going to Africa sometime. I want him to live, not to go just visit.
To
anyway,
live?
Yes, not to visit. I think he said he's going to visit, but I want to go live and see the condition and
don't-
come back and let us know.
I'll let
But
us know.
anyway,
Go ahead.
Anyway, yesterday the Prime Minister mentioned about the may his soul rest in peace, the Honorable Vance Amory,
Yes.
that he's going to be a national hero.
Mm-hmm.
I think we wait until people pass off to recognize.
My sentiments exactly.
But listen here, you're a taxi driver, right?
Yes, I am.
You see the National, I call it National Heroes Park. I think they need to open that there. Only the taxi men them and so on. Show the tourists and so on. The different national heroes we have in St. Kitts. That there could make back its own money.
Capital idea.
Sitting down here doing nothing.
Capital idea. Some people go there, but your point is there should be entrance fee that would help to maintain.
Yes.
And we speak to that aspect of our history.
And
That's
see
a
the
capital
different
idea.
documentary of the different individuals.
Mhm.
Always enjoyable, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that contribution. It makes a lot of sense, and I'm sure the folks who are listening will want to take it on board and such. So we have a fan of the person who made that remark as it relates to Johnny. He needs to go to Africa and see what happens there and come back. But of course, this is what the program is all about, to entertain the views and, of just about everyone. Mr. McMahon, yes, the leadership has to be the one responsible when you find things are not going right. They say the buck stops here, etc. And I'm hopeful. People who hit me some years ago, how come you never customity? How come? I used to. And I said, the gentleman came to the public and he apologized. I recall that he came and he apologized. And I thought I would give him a period of grace. Oh, this, that. And I thought I would give him and I weighed what was happening against what wasn't happening. And I saw to go for the greater good. Country was progressing, this and that. Country is progressing. But all these things that we're hearing about now was not to the fore. And some people voted in blind faith based on that. Sad to say. This appear not to have been the case. I understand when you have to circle the wagon and try to give that image of solidarity because you're on the world stage. You don't want to have investors' confidence shaken. As you present that united front, etc., with the hope that in the interim, matters can be resolved for the greater good of the country and the people, because the people of this country. So if it hasn't worked out and the people's trust has been broken, it may be time to take it back to the people. No one of us has any contract that we must run the country or is willed to us. Some people felt that. But history is the greatest teacher when it comes to these issues. So if it's a matter of broken trust, and that seems to be the issue, not only be amongst the ministers, but the people who are disappointed, it may be that we need to take it back to the people and have them decide. If they decide in your favor, you have a second chance. If they don't, you would have had your chance. And let whatever team emerges for the better and greater good of the country be that entity that takes us to the next level. If trust is reposed in you, let that be a learning experience and do better. But this country should not be going down because of anybody's personal agenda or greed or impression that I'm the only person to run the country. I think I got a quote from, I forget his name. He said that the cemetery are filled with great men, all indispensable. Cemeteries are filled with great men and women who are all indispensable. On that note, I want to thank all our callers, viewers, listeners who would have made the contribution, those who have listened and text me, and all who make it a point of joining the radio station for the daily discussion. Thank you once again. My name is King Socrates, and I wish you the best of the rest of the day and the week and your life. Until then, perhaps Friday, this has been Voices, and it's been a pleasure serving you. Thank you. Bye.
It's tool season at Horsewoods Building and Leisure Centers, and we're making it easy to get the right tools for your home improvement. For this April Tools Month, hundreds of tools store-wide have been slashed.